Mexican narco-traffickers call Totoaba the cocaine of the sea. The fishing of the Totoaba by Chinese traffickers and Mexican cartels is killing the vaquita. The vaquita is getting extinct.
There were 100, and then there were 60, and now there's fewer than 30.
To stop the killing of the vaquita, we have to take down those traffickers. The whole thing stinks.
It's corruption all the way. Who is the Chapo of the Totoaba?
We have to hold on to the hope that it's gonna work.
Clock's ticking.
We will fight for every single life. We won't stop.
Please welcome to the stage Richard Ladkani, director of Sea of Shadows.
Doesn't happen every day that you get targeted by a Mexican drug cartel. Shooting this film, though, this is exactly what happened. My name is Richard Ladkani, I'm a filmmaker, and Sea of Shadows was by far the most dangerous film that I've ever done. We were targeted by poachers. There were high-speed chases on the open water where we were rammed. We were in the middle of riots. Shots were fired. Our drone was shot down from the sky. And at the end, we even had to escape the area because the cartel boss has put a price on our head, and it was just time to really get out of there. But you know, I think it was really worth it. The reason is because this film is about the vaquita. The vaquita is the smallest whale on Earth, and it's going extinct probably within the next 12 months. You probably have never heard about it. I never heard about it when I started this film, but there's only 15 of these animals left right now. Now, we set out to do this because we wanted to shine a huge spotlight on this issue. We wanted to take it around the world, and you know what? We're quite successful. We premiered at Sundance, we won the Audience Award, and then we were invited, thank you. We're invited by over 100 festivals around the world to show the film. We have taken it everywhere and talked about this issue. We even showed it at the United Nations, in Geneva, in New York City, in Vienna. We showed it for the State Department in Washington, D.C., and even at the Mexican Senate early this year. So, thank you. So at many of these events and screenings, I'm asked, why do you take those risks? And it's not something I do lightheartedly. I'm a family father, I have 2 daughters, and you know, a beautiful wife to come home to, and I just, you know, I want to live a safe life. But to answer that question, I would like to take you back about 10 years. In 2009, I was invited to do a film on an iconic woman that you all know. That woman travels the world 300 days a year to inspire people and to want to make them a difference. You know, you should all make a difference. That's what she keeps saying. The woman I'm talking about is Dr. Jane Goodall. I spent a year traveling the world with her, but she really opened my eyes to the world that in a way that I hadn't known, that everything is connected. Our natural world is connected. All the species we live with are connected to the forests, to the ocean. You know, they inhabit the world, and everything depends on each other. And if one species goes, then it will have a ripple effect to many other species. And right now, so many species are endangered, like the giraffes, the elephants, the jaguars. Now, if any of these species goes, what will happen? We don't understand the consequences yet. But, you know, it wasn't until we traveled, well, around the world. We were in Africa, we were in the United States, in Asia, but then we went to Greenland. And in Greenland, we saw the ice caps melt. We saw giant icebergs crashing down into the sea. And there, seeing this, which is climate change related, as we all know, it started to make click for me. We retreated to our tent and we went about our daily ritual. Every 7 p.m., Jane likes to have her good old Scottish whiskey. So we sat down in our tent. And she said to me, Richie, she always calls me Richie like my mom does. She says, Richie, you have a very powerful gift. The gift is to make films. And if you just chose the right topics to make those films, you could influence millions of people around the world. Now, this was for me, of course, wow, I'm getting my mission in life from Jane, so that means a lot. So I didn't take it very lighthearted. I was like, okay, that sounds like something I really want to do. So I went back home and I, started to brainstorm about this next topic and how am I going to go about it. And I had another glass of whiskey to think. I talked with my wife, that is my production manager. We worked together. And at the end of it, we had no clue. We were completely overwhelmed. How are we going to make a film that actually has an impact in the world? So I took a step back. I've made more than 50 films in my life. And thank you. But many of these films, even though they took you to faraway places and they introduced you to very interesting peoples and cultures and talked about political issues as well, they didn't have the impact that would change anything. They came and went. They were being shown at midnight. They would be showing at art house festivals, and yes, I would get some awards and everything, but nothing changed. So I was thinking, how do you actually make a difference with a film? So what I did was I looked at Hollywood, because hundreds of millions of people around the world watch Hollywood movies. So I'm like, okay, how does that work? Well, the films are engaging. They have thriller components. They're beautifully shot. They have, great music, and they use powerful celebrities. So I was like, maybe I can combine this to make a film about a hard-hitting topic that will actually be seen. Now, there is a movie where I accomplished this for the first time, which is called The Ivory Game. It premiered on Netflix, and it was executive produced by Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's about the extinction of elephants, and I just want to show you a quick trailer of that.
Africa's got 700 tons of ivory. It's being moved across continents, being sold under the table. It's fueling international crime.
Traders in ivory actually want extinction of elephants. The less elephants there are, the more the price rises. And it's a race against time.
As long as ivory's worth money, these poor animals are going to be annihilated.
They are a walking target.
Ivory trafficking is extremely dangerous.
Are we really going to allow the biggest mammal on Earth to disappear?
This film, the media called an ecological blockbuster. They said it's a Jason Bourne thriller gone rogue for the environment. They called it all the right names, where I was like, yes, okay, it's gonna be seen. Netflix reacted the same way. They put it out there on their platform, which streams to 170 countries. It was a very successful film as well, because it was shortlisted for an Academy Award. It premiered at Telluride and Toronto A-list festivals. So we had our success on a hard-hitting topic that was very grim to talk about, the extinction of elephants. But the big impact from this movie was actually felt in China. China was the one place where we could, where we were talking to the government and we were talking about this in the film. China can save the elephants only by banning the trade of ivory. Now, once the film came out, we heard rumors from China. It was actually Jane Goodall, who had been touring China at that time, a month after the film had premiered, and she said, government people are talking about your film. And I'm like, really? How's that possible? Netflix doesn't even air in China, right? Well, she says they're getting it over the internet somehow, and I'm like, well, that's fantastic. And then she said there will be a big announcement made at the end of the year. And we're like, okay, like that's amazing. But then came the day, like I thought it was almost over, but then on December 30th, there came the announcement that China was gonna ban the trade of ivory. And it was, for us, it was a real dream come true. I mean, it was beyond our imagination that this could possibly happen. But then 2 days later, we got a call from the Chinese government inviting us to open the Beijing Film Festival, which is a government festival. Of course, we accepted, we went, and then we even won for Best Documentary. So it got even better and better. And as we were there, we heard unofficially, off the record, exclamation mark, that yes, our film had actually moved the needle within people in the government, because they actually had felt, yes, this film is emotionally touching our hearts, and we wanna, we need to do something. So we felt very empowered, and we're like, we gotta keep going. So Leonardo DiCaprio and Jane Goodall, they actually came again and said, what are we gonna do next time? And DiCaprio had this idea to do a film about the vaquita. That brings me back to Sea of Shadows. So he said, I'm gonna use my social media power and my name to help you get this film out there and to help let the world know what a vaquita even is. So we accepted, we dove in, and look at where we are today. We're showing the film around the world. We're in an Oscar campaign again. Billboards are going up in Washington and Los Angeles, and everyone's talking. I just came yesterday from our Mexico premiere. The film just released in Mexico City, where government officials from government, senators, ministers were there talking to us about how we can resolve this. But it wasn't until actually I traveled to, well, here's a small shot I wanted to share. This is our Austrian president receiving a kiss from the vaquita delivered by Jane Goodall. That was like 2 weeks ago, just before Mexico. But it wasn't until we actually traveled to Geneva about 4 weeks ago that we had our biggest success. The Mexican official at the United Nations stood up in front of everyone and said, I can't believe I had to travel halfway around the globe, see this film, meet this filmmaker to finally understand how to resolve this crisis. So for us, this is incredibly empowering. We are making a difference. And now we're talking about more films. There's 2 more films coming. One is fiction, one is documentary. Leo is again involved. And we want to, do something for this world. I think all of us have the power to shape our own future. All of us can make a difference, especially for our children and the next generations. I chose the power of filmmaking, but now I want to know, what are you going to do? Thank you.